everyone, this is Gina. In a tutorial on my Gina's Gem Creations channel, I created this puffed bracelet, and puffed pearl bracelet, something like that I called it. The original units in this bracelet are very simple, very pretty on their own. So I made the original units, and originally I just connected them together like I'm connecting in this one, but then I decided I wanted to get fancy and make a little division in between and put the pearls through. So I've decided for this channel to simplify the bracelet I made here and make it into a very simple, straightforward bracelet that you could follow here. I've used a little bit larger beads in this one to make a larger profile or a larger presence on the wrist because these were smaller beads. I used 4mm and 11/0. On this I'm using 6mm rounds and 11 and 8/0 so that it's a little bit larger and you can see it nicely. It makes a nice statement on the wrist. So this is what we're going to make today. I'll give you a nice close-up of it. And this is a lot like my Dressy diamonds and a few other. I've been using this type of unit for several different tutorials on my Gina's Gem Creations channel. So once you learn this, you might want to go and try a few of those others. There's several very similar. I came up with this design quite a while ago, and I just keep using it because I like it. Now, I'm going to let you see what this looks like, and then we will go look at the material list. If I can get this on here. There we go. That's what it looks like. Here's the clasping. Very pretty. And let's look at what it takes to make this bracelet. Okay, for this project today, you'll need a toggle clasp. I'm just using this gold tone little fancy toggle for my clasp. And then you will need 8/0 and 11/0 seed beads. These are both Toho. This one is an eggplant, and it is my 8/0, and then my 11/0 is also a Toho, and it is antique bronze, antique golden bronze, I think. And then I'm going to be using some 6mm round white glass pearls. I will also be using some 8-pound Fireline, and I'm going to use it in the smoke simply because my seed beads are dark and this can be kind of thready looking. So I'm going to use a darker Fireline. And I'm going to use a size 10 beading needle, and I'm going to thread onto my beading needle about a wingspan of thread, which is when you stretch your arms out like you're going to fly away on both of your sides. They're straight out, and you measure from your fingertips a whole arm across your chest, another whole arm to your other fingertips. That is a wingspan. You will need to extend your Fireline during this project more than likely, so check out video number 4. It is labeled video number 4, and it will show you how to extend Fireline if you do not know how. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to start this project by picking up onto our thread an 11/0, an 8/0, an 11/0, and a pearl. And we're going to do that until we have 4 sets of 11/0, 8/0, 11/0, and 4 pearls, alternating them in between. So I'm going to set it up again with another 11/0, 8/0, 11/0, and pearl, and just repeat 11/0, 8/0, 11/0, pearl, and 11/0, 8/0, 11/0, and pearl. And then I'm going to bring this down to the end of my thread. Leave a very long tail, probably about 12 to 14 inches, just so you know you have plenty to put onto your clasp on with. I'm not going to leave quite that much right now, just so that you can see me do this without struggling around my tail, and I'll just extend it to make my clasping. Now, just bring your thread around into a loop like this, and then go into the first set of 11/0, 8/0, 11/0 on your thread and your first pearl. And it doesn't matter if you go into an 11/0 after that too. It doesn't matter because we're going to sew all the way around. So just begin where you left off and sew until you get to where your working thread and your tail thread meet. So I am all the way around now. And what I'm going to do now is just pull on my tail, pull on my working thread, make sure my unit is nice and tight, and then I'm going to go through the first 3 seed beads on my unit here, right next to where my thread is coming out of the purl. I'm going to go into those 3 seed beads and exit the 11-0 closest to the purl. And then I'm going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads and an 8-0 and two 11-0s. Yes, that's correct. Confused myself for a moment. 2 11-0s, an 8-0, and 2 11-0s. I'm going to skip over the top of the purl and go into the 3 seed beads after the purl, like so. And drop them, or pull the thread through.
There is no active call.
And then I'm going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, an 8-0, and 2 11-0 seed beads. And then I'm going to skip over this purl again and go into the 3 11-0 or the 3 seed beads after the purl, like so. Turn the piece and continue. You're exiting the 3 seed beads, so pick up again 2 11-0s, an 8-0, and 2 11-0s, and go into the next set of seed beads and exit. Something is stopping my needle here. Hang on a second. Okay, I have a seed bead that's not working. Let me do that again. 2 11-0s, an 8-0, and 2 11-0s. And I'm going to drop them down my needle and make sure they're going to travel. Yes, they will. Every now and then you'll get a seed bead that just isn't, the hole isn't right or something. And then skip over the purl, go into the next 3 seed beads, and pull. Now we have one more left to do. So again, 2 11-0s, an 8-0, and 2 11-0s. And again, we're going to skip over the purl and go into the last set of 11-0s. And exit. And this is what I have. Now this is where my tail is, right here. So I want to turn it away from me, over to my left side, so that I can have that reserved in the proper place for my clasping. And I want to work this way on my units. So I'm going to sew through this purl. I'm coming out of these 11-0 seed beads right here. I'm going to sew through this purl, and just the purl. Avoid the seed beads on either side and pull through. And then you're going to go up into the 2, let me get you just a little closer. We're going to go up into the 3 seed beads in our original circle, not the ones we added on top, but just these 3, and into the purl. And avoid the seed beads on the other side, like so. Now we're going to sew into these 2 11-0s and this 8-0. So we don't want to go through the ones in the original circle, just the ones on the peak that we made over the purl. So we're going to go into the 2 11-0s and the 8-0 and exit. And now we're going to push these 2 peaks on either side into the center of our piece. We're coming out of this 8-0 on this side. We're going to pick up another 8-0, and we're going to go into the 8-0 opposite the one we're coming out of on the same side we're coming out of this one. So right here. And pull. And then pick up another 8-0, go into the 8-0 opposite, the one we started in here, and go into the same side you're exiting from this 8-0. So right here, like so. I'm going to put my thumb over the top and just pull this down gently and guide it into place so that it's nice and neat. And then I'm going to sew through this twice just to make sure that it's nice and connected. This first unit is kind of floppy and weird. It gets stiffer as we do the next step. So just sew through all of these 8-0s on the top here. And once you get all the way around, go ahead and go through the 8-0 down here. Or you can go through the one up here. It doesn't matter, but I'm going to go through the one here. And then we are going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads onto our needle. And I'm going to turn this just so I can get to it better. I'm coming out of this 8-0. I'm going to go directly into the pearl on the same side my thread is coming out, right here. And it's a little hard to find the pearl hole, so just kind of push the pearl up to make sure that you can see the hole, and then you can push through. And pull your needle through. That tail out of the way. And these beads, sometimes they tangle up, so just if your thread twists, just straighten them up until they pull nice and straight down along the side of the pearl. And then now we're coming out of the pearl, so we're going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, and we're going to go up into the opposite side of the 8-0 that we started in, like so, and pull these down, like so. Now these should lay kind of over the top of the pearl and kind of puff up your unit a little bit. Now we're coming out of this 8-0, we're going to go into this side 8-0 here, pull through, then go into this 8-0 opposite the one that we just put the strands through. And then pick up, excuse me, 3 11-0 seed beads. We're coming out of this side of the 8-0, so we're going to go into this side of the pearl right above it. And again, just kind of move your 11-0s around, push your pearl up a little bit so you can reveal the holes of the pearl, and then pull through. I keep my thumb on top to keep it from twisting, like so. And now we're coming out of the pearl on this side. We pick up 3 more 11-0 seed beads, and we will now come down into the 8-0 on the opposite side from which we started, and pull. Now this is where we get the tension and the stiffness on the unit, so make sure you have nice tension. We're coming out of this 8-0, we're going to go into this 8-0. We are then going to go through these 2 11-0 seed beads. Let me get you, whoops, a little too close there. Let it focus. Okay, so we made these strands on top. We're coming out of this 8-0. We want to go into the first couple of 11-0s that we put on as we made our peaks. So we go into these 11-0s, the ones closest to the pearl, these 2 11-0s right here. And then we come up through just the pearl. There's an 11-0 there, just push it aside and come up through the pearl. Avoid the 11-0 on the other side of the pearl. Don't go through it, just go through the pearl and pull your thread through. And this is your first unit. Now we are going to make a unit directly out of this pearl, and we're going to count this pearl as one of our 4. So this time we will need 4 sets of our seed bead combinations and only 3 pearls. So we'll start with a seed bead combination, 11-0, 8-0, 11-0, and then we'll pick up a pearl. And then 11-0, 8-0, 11-0. You can drop them down if you want, and then pick up a pearl. 11-0, 8-0, 11-0, and a pearl. and then one more set of 11-0, 8-0, 11-0. Bring them down to your piece. Yeah, my thread just tangled, of course. There we go. And then you're coming out of this side of the purl, you're going to go into the opposite side of the purl. And we're going to build the exact same unit. The only difference is that after we, when we come through to make our loop on this side, we'll just make it towards the inside instead of going over the top of the pearls. And I'll show you what I mean. But first, let's secure this unit by going around all of the beads that we just put on. It'll make it a little firmer for you to work with. You don't necessarily have to do this because you're going to sew through it again. And if you find that your beads are filling up too much, you can not do this part. But I personally like to have a little bit more strength in my pieces, so I'm going to go all the way around. And then I'm just going to exit the 11-0s right here. So I'm not going to go back through this purl. I'm just going to exit these the 11-0, 8-0, 11-0. I'm going to exit this one right here. And then I'm going to pick up 2 11-0s, an 8-0, and 2, that 8-0 is kind of funny looking. My seed beads are being weird today. 2 11-0s, an 8-0, and 2 11-0s. I'm going to skip over the purl, and I'm going to go into the first set on the other side of seed beads and exit them, so like so, and pull through. Let me back off just a little bit. So that's what you should have. You just push that one to the inside of the circle, and then you're coming out of the set of seed beads here. You're going to pick up 2 11-0s, an 8-0, 2 11-0s, skip over the top of the purl, go into the next set of 11-0s, an 8-0, and just go through them, pull through. Now you have a peak on top of your purl. Pick up 2 11-0s, an 8-0, and 2 11-0s. And again, skip over the top of the purl, go into the seed beads on the other side of the purl, pull, make sure you have nice tension on this, you don't want any slack whatsoever, and then pick up 2 11-0s, an 8-0, 2 11-0s, and then go over the purl and go into the last set of your 11-0s, an 8-0 right here, and pull. Center it over the purl and pull. And then you are coming out of this set of your original circle here of your seed beads. Go into the purl here. And then we will just go up into these 2 11-0s here. Let's get close again. So we are now coming out of the purl. We're going to go into these 2 11-0s here. Just avoid this other 11-0 on the other side of the purl and go up into these in the strand that you just created on top of that purl there, and exit the 8-0. Push the strand opposite, the peak that you made opposite, into the center also. Pick up an 8-0 seed bead and go into the opposite side like so, and pull. And again, pick up an 8-0 seed bead, go into the opposite side, or go into the same side of the opposite 8-0, like so. And then sew through these. Probably twice will be your best bet. Just if you feel like you can do it just going around once, that's fine too. But you want some pretty good tension, and you want these pretty stable so that you can get some stability in the entire unit. So I'm going around again. I got my tail. And once I get to this top bead here, right here, I will exit, and then I will pick up 3 11-0 seed beads onto my needle, and I will go directly into the purl. So I'm coming out of this side of the 8-0, I'm going to go into the same side of the purl, and I'm going to avoid all the 11-0s and everything on either side of the purl, and just push my little purl up and just go through the purl, like so. Now, that's what I was telling you about. They want to twist, just untwist them until they lay nice and neat, like so. And then pick up 3 11-0 seed beads and go into the opposite side of the bead we started in, right there. Same side you're coming out of the purl. Turn your unit, go into the side bead, so we're coming out of this 8-0, we're going to go into this 8-0 right here, and pull your needle through, go into the top one, give a nice little tug when you get through so you can make sure your last embellishment is nice and stable, and then pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, go into the purl on the same side that you're coming out of, so right here, and exit the purl. Now we'll pick up 3 more 11-0 seed beads, and we'll go through the 8-0 on the same side we're coming out of the purl, but the opposite side from which we started, like so. Arrange everything, make sure everything looks good, and then go into the 8-0 seed bead here. So you're coming out here, you're going to go into this one right here and exit. Now we're going to sew into these 2 11-0s right here. So there's a strand of 3, there's 2 closest to the purl here that we're aiming for. We're going to go through those 2. Do not go through the one up here. It's laying sideways anyway, so you'd have to really put some effort into it to get into it, but just go through these 2 and then go through the purl. And just the purl, no 11-0s on either side. And that's what you're going to continue doing. We'll go ahead and make a loop for the next one, and then off camera we'll finish up. So we're going to pick up an 11-0, an 8-0, and an 11-0, and a purl. And remember, we have this purl we're sharing, so we will only need 3 purls, but we will need 4 sets of our segments of seed beads. So we start with the segment of seed beads, we pick up a purl, and then we pick up our next segment of seed beads. And then a purl, of course. And then 11-0, 8-0, 11-0. And let me back off a little bit. Whoops. Here, there you go. Real close. And then I will pick up a purl. 11-0, 8-0, 11-0. So I have onto my thread 4 segments of seed beads divided by 3 purls. Then I'm going to go into the opposite side of the purl I started in. And I will sew around all of these beads that I just put on until I get to my last set of seed beads, and I will exit before I go into the purl. So I'm going all the way around, go through this last segment of seed beads right here, and pull your thread through. Give a nice tug so everything looks good, and then begin your peaks with your 2 11-0s, 8-0, 2 11-0s, and then draw the 2 sides in together, the 2 side peaks. Put in your 8-0s, sew through until you get to one of the top 8-0s. Put in your segments of 3 11-0 seed beads, and then start your next unit. So If you need to, back up the video and watch one of the units again and continue just making them. It's completely repetitious from this point. Continue making them until you have units, and just count them in the center at the 8-0 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. I have made 11. This is exactly 6 inches long. I want a 7-inch bracelet, or a little over 7 inches. This is just slightly over 6 inches. So if you want to make a smaller bracelet, then make 10 units. If you want to make a bigger bracelet, like an 8-inch, then make 12 units. Right where I'm at right now, it should end up to be right around 7 inches, give or take a few. So I'm coming out of this pearl right on the end here after making my last unit. Just sew up through your pearl, and we will begin our clasping. So we're going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads onto our needle and an 8-0, and we're going to drop them down. Then we're going to pick up the clasp, and we're going to go through the clasp. Then we're going to go back through just the 8-0 seed bead right here. Put your thumb and finger over the beads and just pull your thread slowly and gently until you draw the clasp down to your 8-0 seed bead. Let's get a little closer. And then pick up 3 11-0 seed beads. You should be coming out of the 8-0, pick up 3 11-0s, and go into the pearl, like so, and pull. That's what that should look like. Now just sew back up through it. Let me grab a hold of this so you can see. I'm just going to go through the 3 11-0s and the 8-0 and exit my 8-0, come up through my clasp. Then come back down. You're coming through the clasp, come back down into your 8-0, and then into the 3 11-0s on the other side. And then back through the pearl. And do that at least one more time. So you'd be exiting the pearl. Just make sure you don't grab any of your seed beads on either side. Pull your thread through. And then go ahead and sew back through the clasping one more time at least, and we'll be back to tie off this end, and then we'll put our needle on and do this end. Okay, so I'm coming through the pearl right here. Now, after securing my clasping one more time, I'm coming right through this pearl here, and I'm going to grab between the 11-0 and the pearl. There's a little thread bridge right there, a little piece of thread. You're going to put your needle very close to it and under it and pull very slowly until you form a loop in your thread. Then put your needle through that loop and pull a knot down onto that thread bridge, nice and tight. And then sew up through the original 3 beads right here in your first circle you made, these 3 11-0, or the 11-0, 8-0, and 11-0 right there, and push your needle through. Go through the pearl on this side here. Right here, coming out of the pearl, let me get this arranged so you can see. I'm coming out of the pearl. There is a little thread bridge right here between this 11-0 and pearl, and I'm going to go underneath it. Pull a loop, put my needle through the loop, and pull a knot down. And then I'm going to go through one more segment of the 11-0, 8-0, 11-0 right there into this pearl here, and just exit the pearl, and then cut off your thread. You can sew through more and tie more knots if you'd like. Leave a tiny bit of a thread tag like so. And let's see if I have, I should use my thread zapper, but I never think about it, getting that thing out. Then I'm just going to gently melt that tag down, just very gently with a lighter. You don't have to light it on fire, just get close to it and it'll curl in. And that is what your clasping looks like. Now let's go to the other side and put your needle on your thread on the other side, and we will do the same thing. Now, since this is a wide bracelet, we're going to do it just a little bit different on this side. Not a lot different, just slightly. Let me get my thread on my needle. So now I have put my needle on my tail thread. Let me back off just slightly. I keep going the opposite direction. I'm not figuring it out here today. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick up our 3 11-0 seed beads, but this time we're going to pick up 2 8-0s. So we have 3 11-0s and 2 8-0s, and we're going to drop them down. Get your other end of your clasp, go through your clasp. And then this time just go through both 8-0 seed beads. Put your thumb and finger over it, hold it, gently pull your thread down, and then pick up 3 11-0 seed beads onto your needle, like so, and then go into the opposite side of the pearl from which you started. And pull these down. And of course my thread wants to twist. There we go. Now, sew through that again. I'll give you a close-up of what that looks like. And sew through it again, all of your beads, just like I showed you on the other side. Exactly the same, except for go through the 2 8-0s, go through your loop, and secure this entire unit of clasping. And then come through, tie a knot around by your pearls, and sew through a little bit more, come through a pearl, and cut off your thread, just like we did on the other side. And we'll be back. And there you have it. A nice pretty pearl and seed bead bracelet. And it's very simple, moves pretty quickly. Let me put it on so you can see what it looks like. And I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. So this is what it looks like on the wrist. Let me back off just a little bit here. And I will show you the clasping. Very nice. And I'll show you on the ruler exactly how big it is. So you want to measure from the clasp side halfway through your round part, and it's just a little over 7 inches, just slightly over 7 inches. So if you're using a bigger clasp, my clasp is only, it's right about 1 inch from side to side here. So if you're using a bigger clasp, then your bracelet will end up a little bigger than mine. If you're using a smaller clasp, it will end up a little smaller. But basically, these 11 units will make a little over a 7-inch bracelet. And you adjust your length, like I said before, by adding or subtracting a unit. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make yourself a pretty bracelet. See you later. Bye-bye.